U.S. Navy has accused Russian forces of dangerous maneuvers.
An American destroyer was aggressively approached by a Russian Navy ship in the Arabian Sea.
The U.S. Navy says a Russian warship aggressively approached an American destroyer.
The North Arabian Sea is a prime example of how the oceans have historically been a source of tension and strife. The North Arabian Sea, a crucial shipping route that links the oil-rich Gulf region to the rest of the world, has experienced its fair share of security issues, including piracy, terrorism, and interstate conflicts. An incident in the North Arabian Sea on January 9th of 2020, adding to the region's expanding list of security worries. In this incident, a Russian spy ship aggressively assaulted the U.S. destroyer USS Farragut while it was engaged in regular operations. The persistent geopolitical tensions between the United States and Russia are highlighted by this tense meeting between these two Navy boats, which also emphasizes the risk of error and further escalation in the area. Although there were no casualties or severe property damage as a result of the incident, it still had a considerable impact on the North Arabian Sea stability and security. In the context of a lengthy history of tensions and hostilities between the United States and Russia, the USS Farragut incident took place. Through the 20th century and into the 21st, there have been times of cooperation and times of conflict in the two countries' relationship. Their different philosophies on international politics have been one of the main sources of conflict between the United States and Russia. While Russia has historically been more wary of Western-style democracy and has worked to preserve its own interest against what it perceives as Western intrusion on its borders, the United States has long been a supporter of liberal democracy and free markets. As the Cold War came to an end in 1991, U.S.-Russian ties underwent a sea change, and the two countries worked to forge a new alliance based on collaboration and understanding. Yet in the late 1990s and in the early 2000s, tensions started to flare up once more as Russia started feeling incredibly outnumbered by the United States' expanding global power. The United States and Russia found some common ground in their shared hostility towards terrorism in the years after the September 11 attacks. This cooperation was short-lived, though, as tensions returned over matters like the U.S.-led invasion of Iraq, NATO's growth, and the U.S.'s support for pro-democracy movements in Russia. The two countries were recently finding themselves on opposing sides of several important issues, which has caused tensions between them to reach new heights. Russia's engagement in Ukraine, which started in 2014 with the annexation of Crimea, has been one of the main sources of conflict. In responses to Russia's conduct, the United States and other Western countries slapped sanctions on it. The ongoing violence in Syria has served as another source of tension. While Russia has backed Syrian President Bashar al-administration, the United States has backed rebel organizations who wish to topple that government. And finally, the relationship between the two countries has grown more complicated as a result of the claims that Russia meddled in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. According to U.S. intelligence services, Russia meddled in the election in an effort to influence the results in Donald Trump's favor, who was the Republican nominee for president at the time. These charges have been rejected by Russia. Both nations have strengthened their naval presence in key areas, particularly the North Arabian Sea, as U.S.-Russian ties have grown more tense in recent years. Close encounters and incidents involving their warships have increased, which may be a result of their increased geopolitical rivalry and broader strategic goals. Although the Russian ship eventually identified itself as a frigate, the aggressive maneuvers it made in the direction of the USS Farragut may have been planned as an attempt to gauge the speed and strength of the American ship. Similar to this, the USS Farragut's evasive maneuvers and warning explosions may have served as a signal to the Russian ship that the U.S. is ready to counter any potential threats. Such operations between competing military powers are common since they reveal useful information about the other side's capabilities and reaction times. Yet they also raise the possibility of errors and unintentional escalation, emphasizing the significance of excellent communication and adherence to set rules in order to prevent future maritime mishaps or incidents. The USS Farragut Russian spy incident serves as a warning that using military force, even in a limited or measured way, can have serious repercussions that shouldn't be taken lightly. It also emphasizes the continued tensions and possible dangers related to military operations in key areas. In general, the incident's potential to test the waters between the United States and Russia is a worrying development. Although it's not obvious whether the party engaged in these actions on purpose, the episode shows how crucial good communication and respect for rules are when preventing unintentional escalation. Such prospective operations are expected to continue in the future as both nations work to safeguard their national interests and preserve their status as major military powers. The USS Farragut event has substantial and far-reaching repercussions and effects. First off, the incident serves as a reminder of the persistent tensions between the United States and Russia, tensions that have recently gotten worse due to a variety of geopolitical issues. The incident has also been adding to the long list of incidents between the two nations, which already includes the continuing Syrian conflict and Russia's meddling in the 2016 US presidential election. Second, the incident has sparked worries over the possibility of misunderstanding or miscalculation between the two countries, which might lead to a more catastrophic conflict. Incidents like the USS Farragut run-in could have serious repercussions and possibly evolve into a wider confrontation as both nations continue to conduct military activities in the Middle East. Thirdly, in order to avoid repeat incidents, the episode has highlighted the value of clear and consistent communication, as well as adherence to established norms. The USS Farragut incident serves as a reminder that even seemingly inconsequential misunderstandings or miscommunications can have serious repercussions, and that open lines of communication and established protocols are crucial for averting situations that might otherwise escalate into more serious conflicts. Fourth, the incident has brought to light the continued difficulties of carrying out military operations in the crowded, intense waters of the Middle East. Incidents like the USS Farragut encounter are certain to continue, and they might even increase the frequency as both the United States and Russia work to further their respective strategic objectives in the area. And last but not least, the episode has wider ramifications for US-Russian ties as well as the larger geopolitical environment. Incidents like the USS Farragut encounter will continue to provide substantial difficulties for policymakers and military leaders as the US navigates a complicated and frequently antagonistic relationship with Russia. On January 9th of 2020, the USS Farragut incident took place in the North Arabian Sea, off the coast of Iran. The incident started as an unidentified craft sped up and approached the USS Farragut. Bridge-to-bridge radio attempts by the Farragut to speak with the approaching ship were unsuccessful. The USS Farragut, an American destroyer, blew 5 short whistle blows, which is an indication for impending collision that's universally recognized. As the approaching warship got closer to the American ship, the oncoming craft approached the USS Farragut despite these warnings, getting as close as 100 yards to the American destroyer. The Farragut then engaged in defensive maneuvers, blowing its whistle once again while avoiding a collision. Finally, the approaching ship identified itself as a Russian Navy ship in a radio contact to the USS Farragut. The RFN Viktor Leonov, a vessel of the Vishna class used for gathering intelligence, was built to intercept and track electronic transmissions. Earlier in 2017, in the first months of the Trump administration, the RFN Viktor Leonov was seen off the American coast. In 2019, the ship was once more seen off the coast of the U.S., drawing concern from the U.S. authorities who charged Russia with acting provocatively. Following the event, the U.S. and Russia both provided opposing versions of what actually happened. The RFN Viktor Leonov performed a risky maneuver by approaching the USS Farragut at a fast rate of speed, according to the U.S. Navy, which condemned the event as unsafe and unprofessional. In the meantime, Russia rejected the U.S. Navy's account of what happened and asserted that the Farragut had broken international law by sailing through what it regarded as Russian territorial seas. This incident is just the most recent in a string of incidents between the U.S. and Russia that have brought attention to their tense relationship. Disagreements over subjects like Syria, Ukraine, and arms control are just a few examples of the geopolitical causes that have contributed to the current tensions between the U.S. and Russia. With Russia supporting the Assad administration and the United States supporting rebel groups without attempting to topple the government, the United States and Russia have been supporting opposite sides in the ongoing civil war with Syria. Because of this, the situation has become complicated and frequently hostile, with both countries conducting military operations in the area and holding harsh diplomatic talks. Since Russia annexed Crimea in 2014 and has continued to fund separatist insurgents in eastern Ukraine, there has been a significant split between Russia and the U.S., with the U.S. placing economic penalties on Moscow and supporting the Ukrainian government militarily. Another significant area of disagreement between the U.S. and Russia has been over arms control. The Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty was abandoned by the U.S. in 2019, alleging alleged Russian violations of the pact. Following this action, talks to extend the new START treaty, which places a cap on the number of deployed nuclear weapons on both sides, broke down. These problems, as well as a number of other elements, have fueled an increase in hostility and mistrust between the US and Russia, which has been made worse by a number of domestic political issues, such as claims that Russia meddled in the 2016 US presidential election, in ongoing inquiries into the possible Russian ties to the Trump administration. The USS Farragut incident has had a profound impact on North Arabian Sea's regional security and stability. The incident took place in a region already plagued by a number of security issues, including piracy, terrorism, and interstate hostilities. The collision of American and Russian ships serves as a reminder of the danger of miscalculation and escalation in the area. Incidents like this one may quickly spin out of hand and result in a more severe confrontation, given how frequently tensions between the US and Russia have increased in recent years. Concerns regarding the region's business activity and shipping safety have also raised as a result of this encounter. With millions of barrels of oil traveling through it every day, the North Arabian Sea is a significant maritime route. Any interruption to this movement could have serious negative economic effects on the local economy and beyond. The tragedy also has shown how crucial international maritime law and norms are. The United States Convention on the Law of the Sea, the UNCLOS, lays forth precise guidelines for maritime operations, as well as the duties and rights of naval vessels in international waters. The USS Farragut incident, however, brings to light the potential for these guidelines to be broken and the necessity of paying closer attention to the accepted international conventions. Last but not least, the tragedy has sparked debate over the role of foreign powers in the area. While Russia has recently sought to increase its influence in the Middle East, the United States has always maintained a significant military presence there. The incident demonstrated how crucial clear communication and adherence to set protocols are to preventing future maritime mishaps or catastrophes. The likelihood of errors or accidents at sea also rises as both nations continue to bolster their naval presence in key areas across the globe. To lessen the possibility of a military escalation, it's crucial for both countries to engage in increasing cooperation and communication. While there weren't any immediate repercussions from this event, it drew international interest and scrutiny. Several nations expressed concern over the possibility of an escalation, as well as the need for clear communication and adherence to established standards in naval operations. To preserve the security of their naval operations and lower the possibility of military escalation, it's very much crucial that both countries give communication and collaboration top priority as tensions between the United States and Russia escalate. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to our channel for more informative content on global affairs and geopolitical developments. Feel free to post any comments or inquiries in the sections below. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.